Good afternoon and welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight. I'm Catherine Nero. Thank you for joining us alongside, of course, Jeremy Schran, the Marketing and Communications Director for the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. It's a good day, right?
Great day.
It may be disgusting outside, but in here we're going to have a lot of fun, right? So listen, we are talking about a lot of great stuff, but before we get to all that, we want to remind you, first of all, subscribe if you're listening to this on a podcast. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit share. We may have broken the record last week for share, so let's see if we can do it again this week. Hit share so we can share all of the great stories of Northern Kentucky with everybody out there in Facebook world. And we also want to thank our title sponsor, CVG, as well as our studio sponsor, the L&N Federal Credit Union, and our digital sponsor. You're going to have to help me out with this one again.
C-Crew Consulting.
C-Crew Consulting. Thank you very much. Okay, so we appreciate all of that.
Yes.
Now we got some good guests today.
Great guests today. We got Lee Kroom from Triad and Kim Lauterbach from Ready. They're going to be talking about how they work together with economic development. Really going to be exciting to talk to both of them. And then also we got Laura Tepe from Junior Achievement, and she's going to talk about their Inspire Career Expo. And then we have a special guest, Shelly Baker from the Lincoln Grant Scholar House is going to come in and talk about their upcoming event, the fundraiser they have. It's a comedy show.
Nice.
Sounds really interesting. That's going to be during the Weekend Review. So great packed show today.
You know it. All the great stuff is coming your way. But first, we want to hear from L&N Federal Credit Union.
Sometimes life is hectic. Choosing a mortgage lender shouldn't be. The L&N 5-5 Mortgage offers competitive rates, no PMI, and up to 100% financing. That's a mortgage that comes with peace of mind. Whether you're purchasing a new home or refinancing, you'll feel right at home with L&N. We're local, trusted, and we'll be here for you even after your closing. Call 800-292-2905 and get started on your 5-5 mortgage. L&N Federal Credit Union. Welcome home.
And welcome back to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight. Right now, our guests that we're joined by, Lee Kroom, the president and CEO of Northern Kentucky Triad, and Kim Lauterbach, the CEO and president of Ready Cincinnati. We are hanging with two CEOs, Jeremy. This is big time, I'll tell you.
Cool.
Thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Lee, and we want both of you to explain, but we'll start with you, Lee. Explain what Triad is and how you work together, and yet differently as well.
Sure. So Northern Kentucky Triad, we are a regional economic development company. We serve Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties. I like to say we're one company. We have two service lines. Those are entrepreneurship services. So via our entity called Blue North, we provide entrepreneurship services for actually the 8-county region that lines up with our ad district. And then we provide economic development services. And economic development services I describe as helping existing companies choose to grow in Northern Kentucky and helping new companies find a way to invest and grow in Northern Kentucky.
And Kim, what about Ready?
A lot of similarities to what Triad does. So we stand for the Regional Economic Development Initiative, also a regional company, but we do cover the 16-county, 3-state MSA, so parts of Southwest Ohio, Northern Kentucky, and Southeast Indiana. And we're really laser focused on job creation and capital investment.
Excellent.
Awesome. So how did the two of you work together?
How did we or how do we?
Still did.
Yeah.
So I think Lee and I were fortunate. We met about 5 years ago when Lee was new with Jobs Ohio and I was new with Ready Cincinnati in a different role, and built a relationship really selling the state of Ohio and specifically the Cincinnati region together there, and have transitioned into being able to work together here locally.
And so let's talk specifics. What do you see as our areas for both of you, really? The strongest attributes, and then maybe the greatest challenges facing all of what you do.
I think from our perspective, we'll start with the attributes because they're always my favorite.
Sure.
Yeah.
Certainly we are a really diversified economy. We feel like, a really big city in a very small package. So we always say you're a cup of coffee away from any decision maker. We're affordable. I don't like to say that we are low cost because we're not like the bargain basement option, but you certainly can have a great quality of life by finding a diversified array of job opportunities here.
Yeah, and I think for the Northern Kentucky side of that question, depending on the type of company that you are, really access to resources. So if you are looking to manufacture and work on an international scale, we have a wonderful asset in your sponsor today, CVG, with the ability through the coming Amazon Prime or DHL or Atlas Airlines that are there to ship on a worldwide perspective. Certainly if you're going to work and do business in North America, our access and where we sit in the United States is very good for companies. And as Kim mentioned, very affordable, not bargain basement, but cost-friendly environment to do business.
Yeah, I heard that Amazon's goal is to be 24 hours from anywhere in the world.
They're really close.
Yeah.
That is a big selling point
So
for
the
being right here.
challenges.
Yeah.
We kind of haven't talked about the challenges. What are the challenges with promoting the region?
You know, I would always say that there are opportunities. I think we aren't unlike lots of other places in the country when we talk about the ability to make sure you have the right talent in place and to find a site. And I think that we've got a lot of programs in place to address those, and we're certainly doing well. But they remain to be some of the top 2 challenges that companies face, and it's our job to help mitigate that.
Okay.
So I would say we're fortunate. Today is a very good day in our region, whether you're thinking of the northern Kentucky part of it or the entire metropolitan area. And to me, the challenges are really how do we continue to grow? So we're fortunate to have good population growth. I think one of the challenges is how do we accelerate that? When we look at our growth as a region compared to some of the leading metropolitan areas in the country, people that we would aspire to compete against on a regular basis, I think we've got some work to do in that area.
It's interesting. I know for people from the area, we consider Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky 2 separate worlds. But I would imagine you both probably have to combine those two when you start talking about whether it's affordable places to live or places to house a business or where the airport is or anything like that. Do you find yourself, finding that kind of pushback between the regions, or are you trying to bring them together, in other words?
We might have slightly different answers because my organization does cover all 16 counties. So what we always say is the river's not a divide, it's our main street. So we have these vibrant, thriving downtowns on both sides of our main street, which happens to be a river. I think sometimes more on the local side, you get more pushback than you do, but when we're selling globally, if I talk about, Mason, which is where I live, or I talk about Northern Kentucky, people don't know what that means. You talk about Cincinnati, that's kind of the bridge that connects it all.
Sure.
So I think to me it's more of an internal conversation, but definitely making strides.
Without a doubt, it's true. So when we're out selling and trying to bring, especially a new company to the region, we're talking about the assets of the entire metropolitan area. So when we talk about, say, German companies, for example, we'll absolutely talk about the fact that Festo is in Mason, and that German companies in Florence work. The river is not a divide for them.
Excellent.
So what are the goals for Ready and Triad for 2020?
So we've just completed a 5-year strategic plan, and we are in year 1 of implementation. So for us, it's making sure that we're not only continuing the work that we do on a day-to-day basis, which we had one of our best ever years last year in job creation, but how are we moving the needle forward on that 5-year framework to look at things like sites, like how do we leverage the assets that are already here, whether it's the airport, whether it's the University of Cincinnati, how are we bringing those together to create more than our fair share of wins?
Yeah, so for Northern Kentucky Triad, we're really at the tail end of what has been a really interesting 2-year arc as the company has gone through a recreation. I joined last April as a part of that. So for us, we're in a little bit of a different spot. Actually, next Monday, for the first time in 2 years, we'll be fully staffed. So we've built an entirely new team over the last year. And I say that because it's important for us to know that, for our clients to know that Northern Kentucky Triad is up and running. We've been working every day since I got here in April, serving clients, helping them make location decisions, serving entrepreneurs, helping them start new businesses. So our big goal for this year is to really expand on that, and then we're going to roll into into some strategic activities as we get into the year. A lot of the similar things that Kim is talking about, making sure we have good sites and buildings ready when our clients want to choose to locate here, as well as have good workforce solutions and options when they get here.
So for both of your organizations, what does your success mean for the region?
Success for the region means job opportunities for those who either maybe have never had a job, who've had a job and want to move up into a different career, who want to look at bringing a family member here. It really looks like opportunity for a better employment.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think the thing that I would add to that is both of our organizations, because we spend the time outside of the region, both competing and talking to companies, it gives us an opportunity to be when we're doing that well, to really be the eyes and the ears of our community, to talk about what competitive trends are, to talk about what challenges could be. What's the impact of not investing in infrastructure? What's the impact of not having population growth? What's the impact of not having good housing that people can choose to live in and afford to live in on ultimately our economic success? Because we're out every day, or our teams are out every day working with clients, we really can be the eyes and ears of our community on issues like that.
Awesome. Well, now it's time for the question of the month. This month, the Chamber is focused on diversity and inclusion. Why is diversity and inclusion important to the work that you do? Okay.
Well, I would say it's important for, especially on the people side of the equation. Population growth is incredibly important to what we do. Population growth equals workforce growth. There's really no alternative for a successful community if they're not growing in terms of population. And if you accept that, population growth means diversity growth. Population growth means be accepting of just new people. I'm a new person in your community, so new people into your community, and being welcoming and inclusive of different types of people into your community. If you're not of that mindset, then you really put a big cap or limitation on the growth and ultimate success of your community.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with what Lee said. It's really a fundamental tenet of what we do in economic development, and not only for the attraction of new population, but you look at the variety of companies that we have, the startup world that we have, that we're trying to grow that entrepreneurial ecosystem. We have to be very thoughtful about the diversity inclusion piece of it for the economic growth.
Excellent. Well, thank you both. We're lucky to have both organizations working to make the workforce situation better here and better the community in the process. So thank you both. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. We've got more coming your way, including headlines and news of a big fundraiser coming your way as we hit the rest of Northern Kentucky Spotlight. CVG Airport is the lowest fare airport in the tri-state region with 54 nonstop flights and direct international service to 7 destinations, including Paris, France, and now home to both DHL's and Amazon's global cargo hubs. The airport is furthering its position as leader in aviation and is deeply committed to being an economic driver for the community. You can learn more and start your next adventure at cvgairport.com. And welcome back to Northern Kentucky Spotlight. We're going to hit our headlines here in just a little bit, but we have a special guest right now. Shelley Baker from the Lincoln Grant Scholar House is here, and you are going to tell us about a fundraiser, but this isn't a typical fundraiser, Shelley.
No, it's going to be awesome and fun, and especially on this rainy, cloudy, dreary day, I hope this brightens our spirits and makes us laugh. So yeah, we're going to have our first, hopefully, quarterly comedy night. It's going to be at Lincoln Grant, 824 Greenup in Covington. And all the money goes directly back to Lincoln Grant Scholar House to provide for programming and operational cost and just supporting the needs of our families.
It's awesome. So you said it's the 21st, February 21st. What time is it and how much does it cost?
So it starts at 7:30. You can buy tickets online for $15 or you can buy tickets at the door for $20.
Awesome.
And so
Yeah.
for those people who don't know what Lincoln Grant is, tell us.
I love it. Okay, so Lincoln Grant Scholar House is, we're an educational program with a housing bonus is what we kind of call it. So we have 45 apartment units for single parent families who are all in higher education or seeking a degree or credential so they can be self-sufficient with their family. The apartments are gorgeous, and while they're there, we provide wraparound holistic care for them and support them in any kind of need or situation they might be in.
So if people, I mean, it's a great opportunity to give money to somebody who could really use it. So, and you get comedy in the process. So if they
Yeah.
want to go, where can they go to learn more information?
So they can go to our Facebook page at Lincoln Grant Scholar House. They can go to NKCAC's website, and we have some information there. They can email me or call me directly. We love to give tours and show our facility off. But for the comedy night, that's probably the best way to go. Or you can go to lgsh.givesmart.com, and that takes you directly to the link to buy the tickets.
Oh, who's the comedian?
Adam Mimick, and he is a teacher in, I believe, Kenton County. So it's going to be clean, fun comedy.
Oh, that'll be
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, and he's fantastic, and he's actually volunteered his time for us. So
Oh,
we're
that's
super
incredible.
appreciative of that.
Perfect.
Yes.
So you got a teacher helping an education, you know,
Yeah.
to further it along. It's all coming full circle. All right.
Sweet, thanks.
Shelley, thank you.
Oh, we're going to give her the question of the month. too,
Okay,
while we're
yeah,
here.
okay, sounds good.
As you just heard, the Diversity Month, that's our focus. So, why is diversity and inclusion important to the work that you do? And I figured you'd have a good answer for this.
Oh my
as well.
God, it's everything.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
it's everything to us. I mean, we have to have a diverse staff so that when we meet with our families and work with them holistically, that they know that we are open, we are non-judgmental, we understand culture, we appreciate their culture and their insight so that we can really support them for where they're at and where they want to be. Not where everybody else wants them, but where they need to be. So we really, it's a critical role for us.
Excellent. Great way to look at it,
Thank
too.
you so much.
You.
Thanks.
So as for the rest of the headlines, we're going to keep it in Covington a little bit. I know we've been talking about the homeless shelter situation there since October, but as of this week, that situation has been resolved. So there was an initial proposal that advocates for those experiencing homelessness were not happy with. The city kind of worked with those shelters, and everybody's happy now. So Covington City Commission voted for these new regulations for the shelters. Again, it had been discussed since October, but so specifically it was the location parameters that the shelters were concerned with. There were very specific rules that were being proposed. So that is no longer in the plan at all. Shelters do have to remain open 24/7 and have access to bathrooms and showers. And so all 4 shelters in Covington happy with this, as was most of commission.
Yep. St. Henry's expansion is set to be dedicated this weekend. It's a $7.8 million project. It includes a new auditorium, small theater, box office, art gallery, STEM labs, plus classroom space. Bishop Foy's is going to be there for the thing. Brent's going to be there.
Excellent.
Chamber's going to be there. We're going to do a ribbon cutting. Ben's going to be there taking some pictures. It's going to be awesome.
It looks amazing from the
Yeah.
street, just driving by it. It's
Yeah.
gigantic.
Yeah, we
And I
get to
know
see
they're
it
very
once a month
proud.
when we go to Eggs and
Oh,
Issues.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. They've been very proud over there, those St. Henry folks. Hey, it pays to attend Thomas More. Georgetown University did this study and ranked all of the typical 4-year schools in Kentucky. And Thomas More is number 1 in long-term gain, meaning the graduates from Thomas More make more money than any other graduates. And this isn't just like barely. At the 15-year mark, at the 20-year mark, at the 30 and 40-year mark after enrollment, they're number 1 in the state. Graduates earn more than $1 million from Thomas More long-term, and this I found the most interesting. It's number 15 out of 143 colleges
Wow.
in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Think about the big, giant schools in Ohio
Right,
specifically.
right.
But I mean, there's like a school every 5 feet there. But Thomas More outranked so many of them, and that's incredible. And they should be very, very proud of themselves.
Go Thomas More. Man, we have some great universities down here.
Yes, we are very lucky. here.
This next one's my favorite.
I know.
Ultimate Air had just announced that they are adding a service to Nashville. It starts March 16th, and it's direct from Cincinnati to Nashville, which is just so awesome. So if you want to go down there and party.
Be there in like 45 minutes.
Next year, when FC Cincinnati has a game down in Nashville, I
Field
probably
research
will
is
be
what
on
we
a
call
flight.
it, yep.
Yeah, the regular price will be $274 each way, which for Ultimate Air, the treatment you get and not having to go through security. I mean,
And the amount of time you save.
yeah, there are deals right now, so you can get up to 25% off select days. So it's only $199. So if you want to plan like a bachelor party or
Yeah.
trip with friends, get
now.
on there
Start
now.
thinking about it now.
Yep.
So St. Elizabeth bought the PDS building. So this is the former planning and development site, the building in Fort Mitchell. The county wanted $3 million. Sandy came close, 2.1. They were happy with it. No word yet what the building is going to become, but as you think about where that is, that's near the old Drawbridge location, right? That's where Christ Hospital was trying to develop, and St. E blocked it. And now St. E's buying the place down the road. So we'll see what happens there. They, again, don't know what it's going to become just yet, but we'll keep you posted.
All right, this is another big announcement to special election in the Kentucky 67th district. This is the old Dennis Keene seat. The Republican that was trying to run, she got approved to run, Mary Jo Wedding, and so she's eligible to face the Democrat Rachel Roberts. The election is on March 25th. Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And
So this is where it gets
Yeah.
interesting. So March 25th, they're gonna, you're gonna vote, right? You
Yep.
pick one or the other. So whomever wins, though, there's another
But yeah,
vote
yeah, you
in
gotta go,
November.
yeah.
So it could be the same 2 people up
Right,
against each other
right.
again, depending on who wins. And so there is another Republican primary in the mix. So it's very convoluted, but at the very least, this is a special election just to fill out
Yes.
the term. So.
And we're working on a little sheet to explain to the voters what each candidate is about. That should be out probably end of this week, maybe tomorrow.
Got a little bit
maybe
of time to
Monday.
study.
Yep.
There you go. Oh, Jeremy, is it time?
It's time.
Is it time for Jeremy's Chamber Roundup?
Okay. One thing, we're going to toot our own horn a little bit here.
Yes.
Brent had some articles out. He did an op-ed. Chamber membership is up 18% since Brent has taken over.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible.
So we're doing great. Eggs and Issues was this past week. It was a really, really, really great program on mental health in the workplace. It was some very interesting conversation, and one of our past chairs, Jim Willman, there was a video of him talking about how what he went through with his grandchild who committed suicide. It was a heavy morning, but it was a needed
yeah.
conversation. Also, in I don't know, an hour, we're going to be at Burkus for the business after hours.
Sounds difficult.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great. Brent's going to be juggling. We will be sure to get video and pictures of that.
Done.
So it'll be awesome. Then upcoming events next week. On the 18th, we got how to Google to grow your business, or how to use Google to grow your business. Workplace safety live stream. So another great show from this wonderful studio that we have here. And then the Women's Initiative Connect Hour is coming up on the 24th, and that one's going to be at the Madison Event Center. And don't forget to register for the Lincoln Grant Scholar House
You know
fundraiser and go see that next weekend.
Excellent. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this, and we're going to be talking about a career expo from Junior Achievement.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
And welcome back to Northern Kentucky Spotlight. Right now we're joined by Laura Tepe from Junior Achievement. Thank you for joining us
Well,
today.
hi. Thanks for having me here.
This is an interesting topic you're talking about. Kids looking for jobs before they can even drive, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so explain. I like this because I've got a 15-year-old. I'm listening intently, right? So, but you say that this is the time with the job fair that you guys have coming up to start really thinking about this.
Well, yeah, think about how tight the labor market is now, and employers are really interested in building that pipeline early. And honestly, 15 is the new 18 when it comes to employers thinking about, well, how do we hook those kids? So what we're doing, Junior Achievement is producing the Inspire Career Expo. And what we're going to do is get kids excited about their career opportunities. So we have almost 50 employers coming down to Northern Kentucky Convention Center. And they're not just there to pass out paper. They are going to set up exhibits that have skills that actually happen at their workplace or processes that go on at the workplace. And the students can go from exhibit to exhibit, try their hand at certain skills, talk to the people who are doing those jobs, find out what they like about that work or what they don't, or what it takes to be qualified. And that's really the key, right? Because I think most employers will tell you, well, I get resumes, but qualified resumes. So how do we get these kids qualified for the next step, for the thing that they're interested in? So they take the classes, the science, the math, whatever's needed in high school to be ready for the next step, whether that's earn while you learn training or certificate or going on to college.
So that's really awesome, developing that talent pipeline a little bit. But what kind of jobs are we talking about? Like what jobs will be on display?
Well, so this is a curated show. So it's not the universe of jobs. These are the high demand jobs in our region that pay a living wage. So there's some companies we said, I'm sorry, you don't really meet our definition. So we're in industry sectors of construction, advanced manufacturing, technology, and healthcare.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, and we're really fortunate. We have sector sponsors for each of those. You'll be seeing some really good exhibits in all of those sectors.
So who gets to go? How does this work?
Yeah, so the Junior Achievement is working in the schools in Northern Kentucky and Greater Cincinnati. For 60 years we've been doing that. So we have school-based programs, but we've invited the schools that we work with to attend. And I'll be honest with you, we had to shut down registration.
Oh, my
because,
goodness.
Yeah, we did this for the
great.
first time last year. We had about 3,900 students. It was so popular. It didn't take any time at all for this to sell out to our capacity. Well, I say sell out. No one pays.
Yeah, right,
But,
right.
but yeah, we hit our
Yeah.
capacity, and we don't want the floor to be too crowded. Otherwise, the kids won't have good experiences.
It's such a great point though, because I know, having a freshman in high school, or now she's a sophomore, like people are always saying, what do you want to do when you grow up? And so often there are jobs that they've never heard of.
Right.
And this is a great opportunity to go, oh wait, that's what I want to do.
Right, and you know what? Unless you see it on TV,
Right.
you hear about it at home or in your neighborhood, you probably don't know about it. And you know what? There are not any sexy shows about crane operators on
Right,
TV
but you gotta have
I know
crane
of.
operators,
That I
right.
know of, but you can make like $70,000 a year as a crane
Amazing.
operator. So, I mean, and I don't want you to think these are all trades jobs. We really have a good mix of jobs for college graduates and jobs for students who maybe are more interested in a certificate program or some work-based learning programs.
Can you name drop some of those employers?
Of course, of course. Well, first of all, I would be wrong not to mention our sector sponsors. So
Yes.
Tri-Health, P&G, we have KeyBank, and General Electric. So those
Awesome.
are our big sector sponsors. But you know what? Northern Kentucky is so well represented. St. Elizabeth is in, Parfetti, Northern Kentucky Health District, Balluff. Balluff did a really popular display last year where they had their sensor technology, and
Yeah,
I
they had
noticed they
some-
always had a big crowd. And I asked the exhibitor, I said, "Man, what are you doing?" And she said, "All of the girls think my partner's cute."
Listen, that may be what brings you in, but
So
the
they had-
job's gonna keep
They
you,
had a
right?
very popular display. Yeah. Oh, you know what happened last year? Master brought in one of those scissors lifts, and the kids all strapped in one at a time and went up in the lift. That was very popular.
Wow, that's
So
cool.
it really is some
What a
hands-on.
great opportunity. And so we want to, how was this made possible? How is all of this available to kids in our area?
Well, we are fortunate. We have been, our sponsors, our presenting sponsors are the Greater Cincinnati Foundation and the Carol Ann and Ralph V. Hale U.S. Bank Foundation. So those two really made it possible. But all of our exhibitors are contributing, and I mentioned those sector sponsors. They really stepped up. And you know what? I loved when we were trying to sell this to our sponsors and our exhibitors. It's not easy and cheap to put on a show at the convention center,
Right.
so it was, some of them had to gulp
Yeah.
when we told them what it would cost to put this on, but they really believe in how important this is to get the kids focused while they're still in early high school on what it's going to take to be qualified. And
It can
they
pay off for
really-
them in the long run.
and they really stepped up. And it's really when you think about how impressionable young people are, and when someone makes an impression on them when they're
Absolutely.
14, 15 years old, I mean, they're going to think about it. They'll remember that person from Tri-Health that said,
Yeah.
"You'd be a really good nurse. Do you know how many men are nurses these days? You seem like you'd be really good," and they'll remember that.
That's great. Well, Laura, thank you so much. And we have the special question of the
Yes.
month for her as well, right?
The question of the month. We are focused on diversity and inclusion this month at the Chamber. So why is diversity and inclusion important in the work that you do?
Well, I really think that if we're not listening and celebrating what we have in common and what we have different, we're not growing. And whether you're talking about kids in high school and their personal development and their growth into a career, or you're talking about a workplace and that company trying to grow, or you're talking about a not-for-profit like Junior Achievement, I mean, it's all about celebrating what we have in common and what's different.
Excellent.
Great answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Especially in this regard, starting them young, we got to do it. Lauren, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it. And thank you for joining us. And as always, before you go, we want you to hit share on this, see if we can break that record from last week. And in addition to all of that, we want you to subscribe if you're listening on podcast. And we also want to thank our sponsors, CVG, our studio sponsor, Ellen and Federal Credit Union, and our digital sponsor, C. Crew Consulting. And do we have topics for next week. Have we
do
planned that
have,
far ahead?
Yes, we're planning.
Yes.
Well, you should know about this one.
Oh.
So we're going to have the panel
Oh, yeah,
from
that's
the
right.
Leadership Breakfast come in.
That's me.
Along with the moderator. So you're
Yes.
going to have another person sitting in the seat with you, Rob
Yeah,
Braun.
yeah, Rob Braun.
Another
Perhaps you've
famous
heard of
TV
him.
person.
Yeah.
And then also, remember that Nashville flight we were just talking about?
Mm-hmm.
The Ultimate Air Show is going to come in and tell us all about all the cool stuff that they do.
Excellent news. So yeah, great things happening here, and we thank you for joining us so we can share them. We hope you can share them with others as well. And we'll see you right back here next week on Northern Kentucky Spotlight.